The sun rose over the Manhattan skyline with a deceptive brightness, casting long golden streaks across the apartment Mark Consuelos and Kelly Ripa have called home for years. Usually, this hour was filled with the frantic, caffeinated energy of morning show prep, script reviews, wardrobe checks, and the playful banter that defines their marriage. But today, the television was off. The scripts sat untouched. The only sound was the low, steady ticking of a clock in the hallway, counting down the minutes until an appointment that would rewrite their history. The moment the world shifted. In the sterile quiet of a specialist's office, the live hosts weren't stars. They were simply a husband and wife. When the doctor finally entered, the air in the room seemed to thicken. The diagnosis, a terminal condition that defied Mark's legendary physical fitness, was delivered with clinical precision, yet it felt like a physical blow. Mark, a man whose career was built on his commanding presence and an almost infinite well of cool, found himself momentarily untethered. He didn't reach for a witty retort or a comforting smile. Instead, he looked at Kelly. In that gaze, there was a lifetime of shared secrets, 3 children raised, and 30 years of in sickness and in health. His hands, usually steady, trembled slightly until Kelly's fingers locked firmly into his. The strength behind the tears. Kelly Ripa is known to the world as a firecracker, fast-talking, hilarious, and seemingly invincible. But in the shadow of this news, she allowed the armor to fall. The emotional reaction witnessed by those in the inner circle wasn't just grief, it was the raw, jagged pain of a woman seeing her North Star flicker. She broke down, the weight of a future without her partner pressing against her chest. Yet, as she wiped her eyes, a different Kelly emerged. It was the Kelly who had navigated the cutthroat world of television for decades. She leaned in, her voice a determined whisper that cut through the clinical gloom. "We are not giving up. We will fight this together." A legacy beyond the screen. As the news began to ripple through the industry, the narrative shifted from shock to a massive global embrace. Mark has always been more than a heartthrob. He is a man of deep substance, a father who prioritized his children's graduations over red carpets, and a friend who showed up when the cameras were off. In the quiet days that followed, the Consuelos household transformed into a sanctuary. Mark, ever the strategist, began the heartbreaking task of legacy building. He started writing letters, not to the public, but to Michael, Lola, and Joaquin. These were life maps, filled with the fatherly advice he feared he might not be there to give in person: how to choose a partner, how to handle failure, and how to remain kind in a world that often isn't. The final wish. Kelly, meanwhile, became his fiercest advocate, scaling back her public life to ensure that every moment they had was filled with presence rather than projects. Despite the grim prognosis, Mark's spirit remained focused on a singular, selfless goal. He told a close friend that if his journey could serve as a reminder for people to hug their spouses a little tighter or forgive a lingering grudge, then his life's work would be complete. The story of Mark and Kelly has always been a love story, but this chapter is its most profound. It is a story of a man facing the sunset with dignity, and a woman standing by his side with a love that refuses to be extinguished. Together, they are proving that while life may be fragile, the bonds we build are unbreakable.